Let me ask you something, and I want you to think about this carefully before you keep watching. Is there a drink sitting on your kitchen counter right now, or maybe in your fridge, that you have every single morning without even thinking about it? Something you've been drinking for decades? Something that feels like part of you, like a ritual, like comfort? Because here's what's worrying so many doctors today. There's one extremely popular drink that millions of Americans over the age of 70 are consuming on a daily basis, and what it's quietly doing to their hearts, their kidneys, their bones, and even their memory is something most people are never warned about. Not by their doctor, not on the label, and certainly not in those feel-good commercials you see on TV. And the unsettling part? The people most at risk are the ones who feel completely fine. The ones who say, "Oh, I've been drinking this my whole life. I'm not stopping now." Those are the exact words one woman in her mid-70s told her daughter, just 3 weeks before she ended up in the emergency room. I'm going to share her story with you in just a moment. But first, I need you to understand why this is different after 70. Why your body at this stage of life simply cannot process certain things the way it used to. And why what was perfectly safe at 40 can become genuinely dangerous at 72. Stay with me, because what I'm about to share might be the most important health information you hear all year. Welcome. If this is your first time here, this channel, Dr. Silas Redford Wellness, is dedicated to giving older adults honest, research-based health guidance that actually makes a difference in real everyday life. We don't talk down to you. We don't sell you anything. We just tell you the truth. And if anything in this video speaks to you or helps someone you love, I gently ask that you hit the like button and subscribe. It takes 2 seconds, and it genuinely helps us reach more seniors who need this information. We're so grateful you're here. Now, back to that drink. The one we're talking about today is something consumed by roughly 270 million Americans every single day. It has been called a morning ritual, a social tradition, a mental boost, a comfort food in liquid form. For many people over 65, it is the first thing they reach for when their feet hit the floor. We are talking about coffee. Now, before you close this video, please hear me out, because this is not a simple coffee is bad message. That is absolutely not what this is. The research here is far more nuanced and far more important than that. In fact, for some people, moderate coffee consumption carries certain health benefits that are well documented. But here's what almost no one is telling you. And this is the part that changes everything after 70. The way your body responds to coffee shifts dramatically as you age. And for a significant percentage of seniors, especially those dealing with specific health conditions that become more common after 70, the same cup of coffee that caused no issues at 50 can now be driving a cascade of invisible damage. The kind that doesn't announce itself with sharp pain or obvious symptoms. The kind that builds quietly, silently, until it doesn't. Let me tell you about a man named Gerald. He was 73 years old, retired school teacher from Ohio, in reasonably good health by most measures. He had mild high blood pressure, which his doctor was monitoring. He walked every morning. He ate fairly well. He had 2 cups of coffee every day, had been doing it since college. Never thought twice about it. About 14 months ago, Gerald started noticing that he felt unusually jittery after his morning coffee. His heart would sometimes flutter. He was sleeping poorly. He thought maybe he was just stressed. Then he started having headaches in the afternoon, almost every day. His memory felt foggy. And despite walking every morning, he was exhausted. His doctor ran some tests. What came back changed everything Gerald thought he knew about his morning routine. But before I tell you what those results showed, I want to make sure you understand something critical about how aging changes your relationship with caffeine. Because this is the piece that makes everything else make sense. When you were younger, your body metabolized caffeine efficiently. Your liver processed it quickly. Your nervous system bounced back. Your sleep architecture recovered. But after 70, the liver slows down its processing speed. Certain enzyme pathways that break down caffeine become less effective. This means the caffeine stays in your system significantly longer, sometimes up to twice as long as it did when you were in your 50s. So that cup of coffee you drink at 8 in the morning, parts of it are still active in your bloodstream at 10, 11, even midnight. And this creates a problem that most seniors don't even realize is happening: the heart. This is where it gets serious and where I really need you to pay close attention. After 70, the heart's electrical system becomes more sensitive. The nodes and pathways that regulate your heartbeat don't have the same resilience they once did. Caffeine is a stimulant. It directly affects your heart rate and your blood pressure. In a younger person with a resilient cardiovascular system, this effect is temporary and manageable. In a 70-plus person, especially one with even mild hypertension or early-stage heart rhythm issues that haven't been diagnosed yet, the repeated daily stimulation from caffeine can contribute to elevated blood pressure, irregular heartbeat patterns, and increased cardiovascular strain. Researchers at a major university medical center followed over 4,000 adults in their 70s over a multi-year study period. What they found was sobering. Seniors who consume more than 1 to 2 cups of caffeinated coffee per day showed meaningfully higher rates of atrial fibrillation, that's an irregular heartbeat, compared to light or non-coffee drinkers in the same age group, and the risk increased with each additional cup. Now, most people in that study didn't feel it happening. They had no idea their heart was being quietly stressed. Some of them thought their occasional palpitations were just normal aging. Some didn't notice anything at all. That's what makes this so concerning. But wait, because the heart is just one part of this story. Let's talk about your bones. Most seniors already know they need to protect their bone density. Osteoporosis is one of the leading causes of serious injury in Americans over 65, and a hip fracture in your 70s can genuinely be life-altering. Now, here is something that doesn't get talked about enough. And this surprised even me when I first read the research. Caffeine interferes with calcium absorption in the gut. It also increases the rate at which calcium is excreted through urine, meaning every time you drink a cup of coffee, your body is pulling calcium from your system at a slightly accelerated rate. In a young person with robust bone density and excellent calcium intake, this effect is minimal. But in an older adult, especially a woman post-menopause, or any senior with existing bone density concerns, this daily calcium drain adds up. Over months and years, it can meaningfully worsen bone loss. There was a research team in Sweden that studied this specifically in women over 68. They found that women who consumed 4 or more cups of coffee per day had significantly lower bone density in critical areas like the hip and spine than women who consumed little to no coffee. What was interesting was that the effect was most pronounced in women who also weren't getting adequate calcium through diet or supplementation. Now, here's something I want you to sit with for a moment because it connects directly to what your daily life probably looks like. If you're waking up, having your coffee, and maybe skipping breakfast or just having something light, and you're not taking a calcium supplement, you may be starting your day with a calcium deficit you don't even know about, day after day, month after month, year after year. This is what I mean when I say the danger is invisible. There's no pain. There's no warning buzzer. There's just a quiet erosion that shows up one day as a fracture from a fall that should have been minor. Now let's talk about something that I know many of you are deeply concerned about: memory and brain health. After 70, most people become very aware of small changes in memory, focus, and mental sharpness. Some of this is normal aging, some of it is not. And the question of what we're doing in our daily lives that might be accelerating cognitive decline is one of the most important health questions of our time. Here's the complicated truth about coffee and the aging brain. In the short term, caffeine does improve alertness and focus. That mental clarity you feel after your morning cup is real. But here's what the research is now showing about long-term daily caffeine use in older adults. Chronic caffeine dependence changes how the brain regulates adenosine. That's a natural chemical that helps you feel tired and signals your brain to rest and repair. When you suppress adenosine signaling every single morning with caffeine, your brain has to compensate by creating more adenosine receptors. Over time, this leads to a nervous system that is chronically overstimulated during the day and then crashes hard in the evening. The sleep disruption that results from this, even subtle sleep disruption, has been linked in multiple large studies to increased risk of cognitive decline and memory problems in older adults. This is why what happened to Gerald matters so much. When Gerald's doctor looked at his test results, she found something that's actually quite common in seniors over 70 who are regular coffee drinkers and don't realize how it's affecting them. His blood pressure had been creeping upward, not dramatically, but consistently. His cortisol levels, that's a stress hormone, were elevated in a pattern consistent with chronic stimulant use. And perhaps most tellingly, a detailed sleep analysis showed that he was barely reaching deep sleep stages at all. He thought he was sleeping, but he wasn't getting the restorative sleep his aging brain desperately needed. She didn't tell Gerald to quit coffee entirely, but she did make one significant change to his routine, and I'll tell you exactly what it was in just a few minutes, because the solution here is not as drastic as you might think, and it made a remarkable difference for Gerald. But first, I want to talk about the kidney connection, because this one also gets overlooked. Your kidneys are working harder than they've ever worked. After 70, kidney function naturally declines. It's a normal part of aging, but many seniors have early-stage chronic kidney disease, and have no idea because the symptoms are subtle until the problem is advanced. Caffeine is a diuretic. It causes your kidneys to produce more urine. This can lead to dehydration, which is already a significant risk for older adults. Dehydration stresses the kidneys even further, thickens the blood, and affects circulation throughout the body. But here's something even more important that researchers have been looking at more closely in recent years. For seniors who already have reduced kidney function, even mildly, high daily caffeine intake can increase protein levels in the urine, a marker that indicates the kidneys are under strain, and it can contribute to elevated blood pressure in the kidney's own blood vessels, accelerating the decline of kidney function over time. There was a study published in a respected nephrology journal that found seniors with existing mild kidney impairment who reduced caffeine intake by just 50% saw measurable improvements in certain kidney health markers within just 8 weeks. 8 weeks, that's not a long time. And that kind of improvement from a relatively small lifestyle change is remarkable. Now let's add one more layer to this, and this one is about medication, because most seniors are taking at least one prescription medication and often several. Caffeine has significant interactions with many of the most commonly prescribed medications for older adults. It can reduce the effectiveness of certain blood pressure medications by counteracting their relaxing effect on blood vessels. It can interfere with the absorption of thyroid medications, and this is important because millions of seniors take thyroid medication, and most of them have no idea that coffee within an hour of taking it can meaningfully reduce how well that medication works. It interacts with certain diuretics in ways that can throw electrolytes out of balance. It can amplify the effects of stimulant-class medications and reduce the effectiveness of certain anxiety medications. And here's the part that I find most concerning. Most doctors are not routinely asking their senior patients about coffee consumption. It's just not a standard conversation. So a senior might be struggling with poorly controlled blood pressure, or getting less benefit from their thyroid medication, or feeling more anxious despite their anxiety medication, and neither they nor their doctor are connecting it back to what they're drinking every morning. This is the hidden story. This is what I want you to walk away from this video understanding. So what did Gerald's doctor actually recommend? And what can you do if you're concerned about your own coffee habits? The answer is not necessarily to quit coffee completely. For many seniors, moderate coffee consumption, 1 cup earlier in the day, away from medications, is manageable and may carry some genuine benefits related to mood and certain metabolic markers. But the recommendation that changed things for Gerald was this: timing and amount. Gerald was having his first cup while still taking his morning medications. His doctor asked him to wait at least 60 minutes after taking his medications before having coffee. She asked him to drop from 2 cups to 1 cup, and she asked him to move that cup to no later than 10 in the morning to allow his system to clear the caffeine before nighttime. Within 6 weeks, Gerald's sleep had improved dramatically. His afternoon headaches had nearly disappeared. His blood pressure readings were more stable. His morning jitteriness was gone. He said he felt, in his own words, like a foggy window had been wiped clean. He didn't give up coffee. He just learned to use it differently. Now I want to give you some practical, gentle guidance that you can actually use. If you take any prescription medications, especially thyroid medication, blood pressure medication, or any medication you take first thing in the morning, please talk to your pharmacist or doctor about the timing of your coffee. This is an easy, free conversation that could meaningfully improve how your medications work. If you are experiencing sleep difficulties, afternoon fatigue, jitteriness, heart palpitations, or unexplained anxiety, please consider whether your daily caffeine habits might be contributing. Try reducing to 1 cup, moving it earlier, and observing how you feel over 2 to 3 weeks. Your body will tell you a lot if you pay attention. If you have known bone density concerns, kidney issues, or cardiovascular conditions, even mild ones, please bring up your caffeine intake the next time you see your doctor. It may be part of a conversation that has never happened, but probably should. If you're someone who drinks more than 2 cups of caffeinated coffee per day and you're over 70, I want to gently but clearly encourage you to reconsider that pattern. Not with guilt, not with fear, but with the understanding that your body at this stage of life deserves to be treated differently than it did 30 years ago. Your needs have changed, your rhythms have changed, and the small adjustments you make now can protect you in ways that matter enormously. Your heart, your bones, your sleep, your memory, your independence. Because that's really what this is about, isn't it? Independence. Being able to live fully, feel well, stay sharp, and enjoy the years ahead. Small changes in daily habits, the kind that seem almost too simple to matter, can have a profound effect on the quality of those years. I think about a woman named Dorothy. 78 years old, from rural Tennessee. She had been drinking 4 cups of coffee a day since she was in her 20s. Her daughter reached out to this channel after watching one of our videos and asked her mother to just try reducing to 1 cup and timing it better. Dorothy resisted at first, but she tried it. 3 months later, Dorothy told her daughter that she hadn't slept that well in years, that her hands had stopped trembling the way they sometimes did in the mornings, that she felt less anxious at church, that she had more energy in the afternoon without needing to rest. She still has her 1 cup. She says it tastes even better now because she actually enjoys it instead of relying on it. That's the shift I'm talking about. From dependence to enjoyment, from habit to intention. You have more power over your health than you may realize, and you are never too old for a small change to make a meaningful difference. The research is clear on that. The stories of real people like Gerald and Dorothy make it human. I want to close with this. Getting older is not the enemy. Aging comes with wisdom, perspective, and a kind of quiet strength that younger people are still working toward. What we want, what you deserve, is to experience those gifts without your body holding you back, without preventable problems quietly draining your energy, your clarity, and your comfort. This video is not about fear. It's about knowledge, because knowledge, when it's honest and specific and given with genuine care, is one of the most powerful health tools in existence. If this information spoke to you, if it made you think of someone you love, or made you want to reassess your own morning routine, please share this video with a friend or family member. Post it in a group chat. Send it to a sibling or a neighbor. You never know whose life it might quietly improve. And if you have questions, or if you've experienced something similar with coffee or other daily habits as you've gotten older, please leave a comment below. We read every single one. This community is built on real conversations and real experiences, and your story might be exactly what someone else needs to hear. Thank you for spending this time here today. Take good care of yourself. Make one small change. And remember, your health is worth protecting at every age, at every stage, with every single choice you make. We'll see you in the next one.